All right, then. Morning. I am Manoj Chopra. I'm the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs for the College of Engineering and Computer Science, and your host for our industry panel. They are warmed up. We already had them go through a session upstairs. They know what to say and what not to say. And I will try not to have any jokes of my own. But the first few minutes, I'm going to allow the panelists each to provide a little background about themselves, their path to where they are, and a little bit about their organization. Just to introduce them a little bit, we do have in the order they're sitting, Mark Billman from Northrop Grumman. We have Manan Patel from Lockheed Martin. We then have Robbie Moon from KPM Franklin, David Grimm from NBC Universal Destinations and Experiences, Carl Spencer Armand from Siemens Energy, and then Steve Boylan from GI Consultants. So with that, I'm going to have Mark start the introduction.
Thank you, and welcome all. I'm glad to be here. It's exciting for all of us to be up here, getting a chance to talk to you all and answer questions. Again, my name is Mark Billman. I'm a senior manager at Northrop Grumman in our Flight Sciences and Vehicle Integration organization. We do the design and development of aircraft, military aircraft specifically. I'm based in Melbourne, Florida, and it's a very exciting organization and company to work for, especially with a lot of what's going on right now in the aerospace and defense industry. I'm privileged to work there and to work with a lot of students from frankly all over, but especially from this school in particular. I'm a graduate myself of this university, proud alumnus. I mentioned in the earlier session, I'm a little envious sometimes coming back to campus and seeing just how many amenities and opportunities and resources there are here now, and the growth of the college and the trajectory that we're on is really encouraging to see, and something very special about this place, especially for me personally coming from here. My personal sort of journey into where I'm at. I was always interested in aircraft growing up, and cars, anything kind of as a machine, basically. Working on cars with my father, and I'm a private pilot myself, so learning to fly. I actually learned to fly while I was in school here at this university. But I wanted to be a naval aviator growing up in high school, and I was on a path to get there. I was applying to Naval Academy and kind of on my way there. And a medical exam actually determined that I probably would not be flying jets off of aircraft carriers. My eyesight was not going to work with the requirements for that job. So I ended up deciding to stay local. I decided I was born and raised near Tampa. And I decided to stay in the state and go to school here. And I specifically chose this university for very specific reasons that we'll probably talk about here as the panel answers questions. And I got involved in engineering, again, I mentioned because of my background in passion for airplanes. And if I couldn't fly F-14s and F-18s and things off aircraft carriers, I was privileged enough to get a job and work in the aerospace industry and work for a company, Northrop Grumman, that was the maker of the F-14, and then so many other aircraft that you probably know today and that you see in the news. So that's sort of my background, and looking forward to answering more questions.
Excuse me. Well, good morning. My name is Manan Patel. I am an engineering director at our training, logistics, and simulation line of business at Lockheed Martin at the site that's just down the road from here. I have the privilege of leading a multidisciplinary organization of approximately 1,400 engineers who design, develop, and sustain our training, logistics, and simulation products for the U.S. military and their allied forces around the world. The group spans the engineering spectrum, if you will, the full engineering spectrum of system, software, hardware tests, cyber, just to name a few. And so what does that translate to a degree? It means that they have a wide diversity of engineering and computer science or technical degrees. And they work together to build solutions that prepare our warfighter and ensure mission readiness. thank you for the opportunity to be with you here today to answer your questions. I am not from UCF, but I have the opportunity to work with so many UCF graduates in my day to day, and excited to represent Lockheed here today.
Good morning. My name is Robbie Moon. I am a civil engineer and I'm the CEO of KPM Franklin. KPM Franklin is a local engineering firm, surveying and planning firm here in Central Florida that serves the state. For those of you who don't know, civil engineering is probably the oldest profession on the world. We provide the design for infrastructure to support civilization, whether from designing cities where determining where residences go or commercial goes and industries go, helping build the roads that connect them, designing wastewater systems that can collect the rainwater, prevent flooding and treating it, designing water systems that take water to your homes, and the wastewater systems that take the wastewater from your home, treating it, and safely returning it to the environment. My background and at KPM Franklin, we specialize in land development engineering, where you think of the term, we help develop the land. We're kind of the quarterback between the owners, the architects, the construction side, designing residential subdivisions, mixed use developments. We've been very fortunate to work in all the major theme parks here in Central Florida. And we also work with SpaceX, working on the ground-based operations, helping launch the new Starship. So my background or my journey to engineering started at the age of 19 as a intern my sophomore year in college. Fortunately, that was my first and last ever interview I ever had in my whole entire career. I like to say I've never worked one day in my life. It's been a great, rewarding career. And if you're still on the fence about what degree you're considering, I strongly suggest civil engineering. It's more than a job. It's a career you build, lucrative career, rewarding, and you're building a career as well as you're building your community. I look forward to answering questions.
Good morning. My name is David Grimm. Can you hear me? I'm the Senior Vice President of Business Analytics and Industrial Engineering for Universal Destinations and Experiences. You may be like me. Early on in my career, theme parks weren't even on my radar at all. I didn't even think it was a thing. I am from Pittsburgh. I went to Penn State. My degrees are in chemical engineering, industrial engineering, and operations research. My first job was with Disney. I was doing computer simulation modeling, modeling the monorail system. Very, very basic compared to what we do today with simulation modeling. And so I've been with in the theme parks almost 40 years now. My team is involved in a pretty broad range of responsibilities, everything from pricing analytics across all products and all parks, both internationally and domestically. Everything related to labor optimization. So we have advanced automation tools to optimization tools to determine when to hire people, how many to hire, all the way down to the venue level, determining what staffing is optimal and required. I have a team that is made up of a group of simulation modeling experts. They're all from UCF. We simulate and model everything new that we do, anything from a new venue to a new attraction, working with the team that's developing those. And then lastly, probably the last category is environmental sustainability. So we get involved in all aspects of environmental sustainability. Thrilled to be here. It always brings me back to the time when I had my kids and we were trying to decide where to go to college. And I thought, wow, it was so exciting, but it was so stressful. So I get it. So,
it's funny. Hi, everyone. My name's Carl Spencer Armand. I work for Siemens Energy. I've been with the company for about 28 years. And as I mentioned in the session upstairs, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. It's a fantastic company to be with. This time, I guess in engineering and science, this is the most exciting time since the Industrial Revolution with all that's going on in all the industries, which you'll hear a lot about today, especially in this area. My career with the company has started as a commissioning engineer working on gas turbines in the developing world. Traveled an awful lot for the company, stayed in places for months and years on end, kind of seen a little bit of the world. So it was a fantastic job as a graduate. I've worked in engineering, worked in thermodynamics, process engineering, got into new business fields, project management. Working for a company like those represented here today is a great opportunity. I think you mentioned, you had one interview and a job for life. I think it's kind of similar with me. You move around the company, you move around countries, you move around functions. These companies present a great opportunity for the students to develop and grow in their careers. Um, Siemens Energy is a fantastic company. It's about 100,000 people around the world, 10,000 in the US, with a massive order backlog that goes into years. It's a really sustainable future for a career in an exciting field.
I am Steve Boylan with GAI Consultants. We're a multidisciplinary engineering firm. We do everything from civil engineering, like my colleague up here on the stage, to we actually do energy work as well, transmission and substations. But my particular role in the company is on transportation. And that is really everything from roads to bridges to stormwater management, even down to traffic signals and striping and everything that you see out there in the road. And one of the really nice things, or the things that I really enjoy about my career, is that it involves everyone. Every single person in this room, got here on a road. And, my colleagues and stuff may be rocket scientists and stuff, but they didn't get here any other way either. It's not. So it's a really exciting industry to be in, to really make a difference in everyone's lives, both through mobility and probably most importantly, building and designing safer roads. My route to this career is a little bit different than most. I went to a lesser university up the road and got my degree in aerospace engineering. And you might be asking, why is an aerospace engineer doing civil engineering? And that is because I was born many, 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 many years before I graduated college, many years before you were born. Um, and if you go back to the early '90s, it was definitely, I think in the prior session, my colleagues up here said it was a trough in the aerospace field. And quite honestly, there weren't many jobs. So it's a lot different than the atmosphere right now. People who are going into mechanical and aerospace engineering right now, this is a renaissance, similar to back what we had in the '60s with the space race. So it's a very exciting time to be in that industry. Um, but I was fortunate enough. I got a job with the Department of Transportation, made a career of roads and bridges. But I wouldn't mind going back into aerospace if any of you guys, are hired. So anyway, very happy to be here and looking forward to the rest of the conversation.
Thank you, Steve. And again, we've got a great panel here. So in the videos in the beginning that you walked in, as well as the dean's presentation, you saw something about the uniqueness of UCF. So let me ask the first question of the panel, which is, what are some of the main reasons that, in your opinion, a student should pick UCF and our college? Mark.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mentioned that I'm a graduate of this school, and I specifically chose to come here for a number of reasons. First being location. I think you'll hear that a lot from the panel and some of their answers as well. But just the proximity to the industry base here in the Orlando sort of metro area. Companies like Lockheed Martin, our company Northrop Grumman, the space industry over on the Cape, which has grown even significantly from when I was in school here. Back then, the shuttle program was still in operation. NASA, of course, was very attractive, but now there's the Blue Origins and the SpaceXs out there. And in Melbourne, where I'm from and live now, the Northrop Grumman is there, L3 Harris. Just a lot of industry opportunities for students graduating, going into engineering careers. And also, I would say the education here. I'm a hiring manager, and so I do a lot of recruiting at local schools, like this one as well, but others. And the talent, the pipeline coming from this university I think is very special. A lot of what I heard this morning in some of the introductions is very true. Talking about an emphasis on being in class and working with people. Even though online classes are a thing of the day, but especially in engineering, I think it's important to be around peers, to be in school, to be present. And That's an emphasis of the school, obviously the college here. And I think that translates very and well and important into the workplace for engineering. So, and then the opportunities here, I mentioned a little bit being a little bit envious of students now. The amount of growth and resources that are here at the school, between the faculty and clubs and ways to get involved. I was part of the SAE team here as a Formula SAE member, as part of my senior design project. And now there's just so many more options, even well beyond that, to get involved in, even if you're not in senior design, just throughout your whole entire journey here. The school is really doing an excellent job, in my opinion, of fostering that growth and those opportunities.
Yes, I also think it's multifaceted. So let me talk about the academic piece first. In industry, we have a concept called a T-shape engineer, right? So you want your breadth and your depth as well, right? And so we are trying to grow our engineers across their career so that they can specialize in something and be an expert, but then be able to work across, right, in different disciplines. And so that what translates to the caliber of the engineer that we are seeing coming out of UCF, right? We hire a significant number of UCF graduates here in the Orlando area for Lockheed Martin. 1 in 4 of our employees went to UCF. And so we are seeing that breadth and depth in the academics. Second, we talked about location. You are in the modeling and simulation capital of the United States. That includes small businesses, large businesses, commercial, defense, services. And so the opportunities to be able to work with companies through your internships, and then be able to get a job coming out of college, are tremendous and set you apart from other universities, let alone 45 minutes east of here. You also have the Space Coast, which has another, tremendous opportunity when it comes to industry as well. And then the third is probably takes both the location and the academics together, and it's more of that experience-based learning. You're not just learning in the classroom, right? You're doing research. You're doing research with industry, right? We do a number of our companies work with the students on research that will benefit both the students and the university as well as the company. Our internships, more of that traditional summer internship, if you will, and then our CWIP specifically at Lockheed Martin. I believe you saw the video where you heard Frank St. John, our CEO, mention that he was a CWIP 40 years ago today. And as of this month, I believe we have almost 400 active CWIPs working in the Orlando area for Lockheed Martin. I didn't talk a lot about in my intro about my background. I'm from the Northeast. I went and got an engineering degree at a small college in Eastern Pennsylvania, electrical and computer engineering. Decided should I go into law, and then ended up very fortunate to get a job at Lockheed Martin, and I've been with the company ever since. And I will say, absolutely, the location and the experience-based learning is something that I wish I had coming into the company. So,
I think as UCF has been one of the largest universities in the country, they bring that scale to opportunities to you. You have opportunities with the resources, the facilities, and all the industry partners in the area. And UCF does a great job of connecting the students with industry partners. And Central Florida, Florida in general, Central Florida is one of the fastest growing regions in the nation. So population's coming here, engineering's needed to help, provide facilities for them. The industry is coming to Central Florida. We need other engineers to help build out those facilities. So I think, again, Central Florida brings that, or UCF brings that ability to connect the students with industry at an early age versus going to a smaller school up north that's kind of in the country, and then you got to go away for the summer for an internship and come back. No, here you get full-time year-round opportunities for internship.
Just adding to what was already said, but I think the quality of the student that I hire that comes out of UCF is as good as any, if not better. And I have a pretty diverse group of engineers, all disciplines, all top engineering schools across the country, Ivy League schools. I've been hiring UCF students for probably over 15 or 16 years. Um, and the quality is really there. I feel like too, the other biggest thing for me is the innovation. Like you've heard a lot about innovation, but UCF is incredibly ambitious about innovation. I mean, I can't. I'm always so impressed when I come out here. I get the opportunity to come out and see what they're doing. There are world-renowned faculty here in their different disciplines. There's computer vision. There's virtual reality. All the simulation work, like for my team, we're state of the art there because of UCF.
I think I just second what most people have said. The academics are on a par with the best. I think that's primarily driven through the university's focus on real world experiences and real world research, and giving these students, even in undergrad, an opportunity to work on these programs, or to engage with industry, such as ourselves, and be employed through their undergraduate degree, whether full time and part time, depending on their academic load. I think it gives the students a really great opportunity to experience industry, and when they graduate, to be a ready to work professional. I think location is key too. As was mentioned, a few miles away is the space industry, represented by all the key players. We have the defense industry surrounding us, and we have two of the three world's biggest energy companies headquartered for the Americas within miles of this university. So there's huge opportunity in all these industries, and the connection the school makes with the industry is really important and beneficial for the students.
Can I just say ditto? No, I mean, one of the things that I have a bit of a unique perspective. I have three daughters who all attended the university. Two of them, one's a graduate in engineering, working in for a local company. She's actually here with me today, and another who's a junior at the school in the engineering college. So I really get to see how they've developed throughout their college career, and ultimately transcending into moving into industry and having a job. And the one thing that I've noticed both in them and in the number of UCF students that we've hired is that ability to do critical thinking. That is the differentiator in what all engineers do. And being able to learn that is and have that mentored within college is it's a unique experience, and it's something that very absolutely shows in the graduates that we hire from UCF. Another wonderful thing about this university is its location, as many have said before. Florida, when it comes to transportation, road, and bridges, we are one of the three biggest markets in the country. It's Florida, Texas, and California. So the opportunities here, not only for a long-term career, but also for internships and getting to work on high-profile, very interesting projects, both in concrete and asphalt, and in the technology side, is you're in the right place. And we're happy to be able to hire people from Central Florida in our community.
So another aspect of what you saw earlier in videos, etc., was how our students were actually doing things, building things, showcases, design, senior design projects. So I want to ask the group here, and we'll start with you this time, Steve. Is because of our partnerships, can you give us some examples of how this partnership manifests into student life?
Yeah, it's a great question. This partnership is extraordinarily important to our firm, because we hire so many people from the university and we integrate so closely with the university through our internship program. There is a tremendous mutual benefit, both for the students and, of course, for our company. We actually have a very robust internship program that not only involves just bringing people in and engaging them in real projects and giving you the exposure that you need to really understand the industry, but we also have programs that a program that allows you to work on projects that are more kind of like a senior project here at the university, where you'll work on something technology. Matter of fact, one of our committees that we had last year was about how AI can be used in transportation engineering, bringing a lot of the stuff that you guys are learning in real time into our industry. And as part of that, you have an opportunity to interface with senior management in the company and make these presentations to senior management in the company, really give you that exposure as to how our organizations work, and educate, quite honestly, the older folks like myself who don't have that day-to-day experience. So this collaboration with UCF is very important for us developing our workforce, and and having the chance to bring in some of this new talent into our company.
Like for Siemens Energy, the connection with UCF is really important. We are local. We're across the street from the main entrance. We have facilities on the research parkway also, where we're developing new technologies and innovation and technologies for the future energy industry. A lot of that is done in collaboration with UCF, and we engage in foundational fundamental research with UCF. A really good example is some of our blade designs for turbines. It's really important to improve them and bring them to the edge of their capabilities. And we work closely with UCF to do experiments and tests to validate ideas and design methodologies before bringing them out to the real world. And UCF is big instrumental in helping us get there and be the world leader in terms of efficiency. And it's always a race; it ping pongs back and forth. But at the moment, we have an amazing technology in which UCF played a key part in developing it. Um, UCF supports us in other areas too. We're getting involved in AI. UCF is very much focused on AI and how to use it in the future. Um, we're collaborating with them to develop digital grids of the future, self-healing systems. Um, in terms of internships, we have multiple flavors and varieties. We have summer programs, which are just for that duration. We have long-term programs. We call it the Emerging Leaders Program, where we bring people in the summer of their first year, and they work through graduation in real projects with tangible results. Um, and I used in the previous discussion an example of one of the mechanical engineers. He's worked with us for a few years. He's a fully capable, 100% independent, fully professional employee, designing power plants, the entire combined cycle, doing thermodynamics analysis, developing test procedures, and going to site to demonstrate contractual performance. He is 100% capable, no training required the day he graduates. That's just one example of some of the students from here. But with the connection with our Pegasus program connection, there's just so many interactions with the company and with UCF. UCF is very, very valuable for Siemens Energy.
I think very similar to what Carl had just said. Like, I think the scope and the breadth of our internships is so significant that when students get out of those programs, when they graduate, they're ready to hit the ground and running with their work efforts. Our collaboration with UCF is really significant. I think even a number of UCF former graduates that are on my team have leveraged their relationships with the faculty here with the latest understandings of technology and innovation. I think I might have mentioned, but we work with a simulation group here. We have a really advanced simulation team in our organization, which is really great. I think it was mentioned a couple of times too, but I think proximity is so important. Oftentimes I have interns that have worked in the organizations that are represented here, and they've had 2 or 3 internships and then come to me, and the breadth of what your experience is amazing when being able to do internships across different industries.
Yep, the partnership's great. It's two-way, campus facing. We're on campus. We'll do a land development 101 to help introduce students to what engineering land development is. We'll do a tool talk showing what tools we use in land development, LiDAR, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, and what simulation programs we use. We know we help judge competitions, and then the internships, which we've talked about, and just to let people know you're getting paid for these internships. This isn't free. Freshmen can be low 20s. We have seniors or even super seniors that are in the 30s. So it's a well-paid internship program. And kind of Steve said, we're not just signing you off and you're doing one little computation. We're doing bottoms-up management. You're in meetings with the client, with the engineers, working with the team, helping solve problems. We've had many situations where we have our engineers are so tunnel vision, how they've been doing it for 20 years, where a freshman or sophomore says, "What about this?" I'm like, "That's brilliant." And now that idea is now baked into a set of plans and a design, and it's working. So it's a great two-way, it's definitely a two-way process for both parties.
Yeah, so I'll start. I will say different company, same experience. So through our internships too, right? I also look at this as our talent pipeline, and so we offer the traditional internship that you're hearing about, right, as well as our CWIP program. And your internship one year may be different than your internship next year, or even at a different location too of Lockheed Martin. Understanding that we are global, and then many of our interns are coming out and CWIPs, right? Like I said, I work with them day in day out, who were interns or CWIPs, and they have an offer, right, a full time offer right before their senior year, before they're going back for their senior year to come and work for the company. And then the research, right, the investment that we are putting in, as well as the partnerships that we have that where we are benefiting from, the research, working with the students that are benefiting you, right? Specific. I think there were some in the video about some of the research with our space industry with Lockheed Martin Space, specifically within TLS. Right down the road, some of the more recent was our gaming technology and how we're incorporating that into our simulation products.
Yeah, I'll just kind of foot stomp all of those things. All those things are very true for us as well. As you heard all about the aerospace and defense industry, we're a bit of a renaissance period now, and that means that our engineering pipeline for talent from local universities is very robust, as a word I think we've used. We do a lot of recruiting here from this university for all types of engineers, and it's of course you heard about internships that translates into new grads as well. But even more than that, we enjoy kind of relish the opportunity to be a presence on the campus, to be involved, whether that's through technical mentorships for different opportunities of senior design projects, local clubs, events. We're here for recruiting days, for career days. Just recently, I had the privilege of being here is about 2 months ago with some colleagues of mine. We were invited to come and speak to one of the local clubs in the university that was started by one of our interns. He was a sophomore here, and he did an internship with us and came back to school here and became the president of one of the clubs here and invited us back to come and talk to his peers and other students and talk to them about their research, things they're working on, to give some technical advice. And that I think that partnership, that one-on-one sort of knowing people by name here in the industry, both is a two-way street, as you've heard, not only for us as employers and as mentors, but to know who the students actually are, their backgrounds, has been vital to us for that pipeline that we keep talking about.
Thank you. And as great segue from Mark's last point. It is a two-way thing. So they are hosting us, our students as well, but they're then coming on campus, helping us with mentoring opportunities. They participate in the Dean's Advisory Board. David's on there, and they give us information on curriculum, on academics, student preparedness, all of those things. And now are helping with the strategic plan for the college and where we're headed. So it's a very important part for us to have this kind of conversation with industry. And then the senior design, I think you might have seen those videos of them building different things, but most of those projects are either industry generated. They want the idea, or at least industry mentor. There's somebody, a project manager or somebody from industry that oversees that and then looks at the project, and quite often they adopt that as their own in their industry. So this is the pipeline that they just talked about. And I think you also saw in the dean's presentation on Limitless. That was a student project that actually became an industry. Now those people have a company called Limitless, where they are making bionic arms for children. So these are all the opportunities we have with industry. So I have some more questions, but instead of making this so robotic, let's just open it up to interaction with the audience. So if you have questions, yes, sir. First, some candy for being in the first row, also. So I have a question. Hang on, since they're recording, they may want you to.
Thank you. So, y'all talked about a lot about how UCF is like different from other universities and how the students have like critical thinking, the T-shaped engineer. And I have basically like two questions in one. Is that between the UCF students, what what is like the thing that differentiates them between themselves? So you have like two UCF students compete with each other. What makes one student better than the other for your company? And another question is, what's like the prospect for like engineering and like business in Florida? And you see like Lake Nona with like a lot of like new businesses and everything. And what is the prospect for in the future? Thank you.
Two very good questions. I think let's take on the student.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure other people will answer that question too. I think if I take them in two parts, from a student's perspective coming into the industry, I would think that of course academics is very important. GPA, your involvement in extracurricular activities that are aligned with your career objectives. Um, being part of teams. I can't stress how important leadership is. You'll probably hear about that. Doesn't necessarily mean formal management. You can be a leader in whatever capacity you're in, whether you're a student or early on in your career. I think what I've seen as a manager that sets students apart from each other is a willingness to work hard, to put your head down, do your job, positivity, the attitude, the posture you bring to your work and to what you do, and to like, sort of the pride that you put into your own personal product, and being willing to work with others. Engineering is such a multidisciplinary, field, and it takes a lot of different types of engineers with different backgrounds to come together. Kind of that T-shaped, example of having people who have depth, but also people who have breadth, to put complex products together. And so being willing to be a partner with others, to work well with teams, and to be innovative and excited about what you do, I think is important. And I may have forgotten your second question, but I might turn it over to someone else to, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the second one I'll answer, the prospect of work here in Central Florida with the incoming growth of populations, infrastructure's failing, the space market blowing up, we're turning work away. We don't have enough talent to perform it. As a business owner, that's the toughest thing to do, but I want to grow smart and not everyone on my staff. So the prospects of work Central Florida, to me, what I'm seeing, it's just unlimited. So
I'd add for myself, for the theme park business, we are growing exponentially. Our parent company, Comcast, I always kid and say we can't spend their money fast enough. I mean, they have been looking to diversify, and we are just growing leaps and bounds. We have new parks planned. We have new ventures planned. So, and then from an engineering standpoint, I just see, that the discipline changing so much too. And when you go to a school like UCF, you're getting prepared for the future. So the jobs that don't even exist, you're getting that preparation here.
I'll add just a little bit on what Mark answered for the first part of that question too. Obviously, it's teamwork, leader, right? Leader not by title, leader by you're an innate leader. But three other things that are important to me. One is you're able to communicate, right? You're a communicator, and you can communicate effectively. Second is you're a problem solver, right? We solve problems, and a lot of us solve very hard problems, right? And so that's the teamwork that we all have to come together. So when you find a bug, it's not just that you have identified the bug and you've given it to someone else to fix, is that you're starting to look into and identify where it is. You're asking, there's the concept of ask why 3 times, right? Until you get to the real solution. And then the last is, and we talked about it a little bit on the previous question, you're an innovator, right? We have a wide variety of years of experience at each of our industries, right? From people that, are interns, working as part of college right now, to I work with peers that may have been in the company for 40 years, right? And so everyone brings a different perspective and a different experience. And so the willingness to speak up and say, wait, I think I could do it better, right? I think we have this other idea. And so bringing that innovation, and the good ideas.
And maybe just to kind of touch on both your questions, you asked, how does one UCF student differ from another UCF student? And I'm assuming that means to the eyes of industry, right? For me, the UCF students that really jump into the programs, that get involved in the culture here, take those research opportunities, enjoy the internships. As was mentioned, you do get paid for it. So no, making pizzas, you can do real work and get well paid. Take advantage of those programs, because the kids that do that, they really stand out on their resume when it's time to come for looking for a job. To answer the second part of your question, what does the future look like with opportunity? Everyone's mentioned industries growing massively, whether it's the space industry, the defense industry, civil industry, or energy. And, even if you look back before AI became the thing, humans' consumption of electricity and power and the distribution, the needs to distribute that power have been there. There has been growth in various areas, whether it's in renewables or it's in fossil generation or it's in distribution, smart grids, all of that's there. There's loads of opportunity. Add to that AI. Some people say it's a bubble. I don't think it is. I don't think anyone in this room doesn't use it all the time for lots of things. It might be a little speculative on the surface, but the core is a solid concrete sphere. So I don't think it's going to pop anytime soon. It's the way forward.
Yeah, and just to echo for the first part of your question, a lot of what folks said here today, to me, a lot of it is communication, the ability to collaborate. One thing about our particular industry is we work with people all the time. Some of the scariest parts of what we do is working with the public, because when you build a road in their front yard, sometimes they aren't very happy. So it's important to have that ability to understand, be empathetic, and work with individuals. The other thing I like when we bring in a candidate is that when they look at a problem, they don't only look at the problem, say it was said, hey, there's a problem, let me run to 17 other engineers and find the solution. It's the engineers who look at the prospective engineers who look at what the issues are and then come to me with a solution of what you think the answer might be. It can be wrong, but the fact that you've put in that thought and said, I think this is how we can solve that problem. The other thing, and again, my colleagues here have said very clearly, this is a very, very good place to be. I think it was observed in the earlier session that our number one import in Florida is retirees. So that is only more of a need for us to invest in our infrastructure and invest in safety. One of the great programs that we work with, and we work with the folks here at UCF, is technology and how technology can help improve safety. You guys may have seen a lot of these wrong way signs and stuff pop up on ramps where, it's to warn people that, hey, you're going the wrong way on the ramp and you're going to be hitting head-on traffic. That is a technology that came out of universities and has a real impact. I think I was at a presentation with Flores Turnpike the other day, and it was 600 incidents of people going wrong way on ramps that these systems were even able to detect. So that's only areas where the systems were in fact in place. So being on that cutting edge of that area of technology, I think is really, really important.
Great. I'm going to make an executive decision. We're going to have questions for one person, so we don't get a long ad. So we can cover more answers. So I think over here first, and then we'll go across that way. Yeah. Please direct your question to someone. Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess this question is for Carl. I am interested in becoming a materials science engineer, so I wanted to know what that would look like as like an internship or day-to-day job in your industry.
It's actually really interesting and good timing. So at the moment, we're actually building out our innovation center, which is on the edge of campus. And we're building a materials lab, actually. And the reason we're doing so is to be able to develop conceptual new materials by the use of AI, for example, and synthesize those and then test them through mechanical properties testing, but also to expose them to their expected environment in service for some period of time. Maybe it's accelerated, and figure out if it's an appropriate thing. There is a race amongst all turbine manufacturers, for example, to have better materials that can go to higher temperatures and hence more efficiency. And the entities in the area are all doing it. So I don't think you'll have a problem finding a role locally. But Siemens Energy is definitely involved in that. And it's not just those materials, it's also future technologies. So, for example, you know what PV is, right? Photovoltaic. Another technology that's being developed or has been demonstrated at a micro scale, it's nowhere near commercial, but it could be really, really important in the future, is thermal PV, where you can absorb infrared radiation and produce electricity directly. A lot of material scientists will be needed to figure that one out. So there's plenty of opportunity, and I think it's the development of new materials to improve what we currently do, or the identification of new materials to enable us to do things we can't even do today is where your focus would be.
Thank you, Carl. Right there. The gray sweatshirt. As he goes over there, let me just point out the semiconductor discussion that was in the presentation in Neo City and Osceola County. So make sure you look at that because there's a lot of materials research in semiconductor as well.
I'm sorry, for the one wearing the white shirt next to Carl, can you please tell me your name again?
Me?
Yes.
Steve. My name's Steve Boylan.
Okay, Mr. Wood. I wanted to ask.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask how, when a person brings a wrong solution or makes a mistake with their idea for a project, how you give interns room for them to grow from that and for it not to cause major damage.
It's a great question. And quite honestly, it's not just interns; it's people at all stages of their career make mistakes. No, I mean we encourage that. We encourage people to make mistakes because honestly, that is how you learn to be a better engineer. That is how you learn to be better. So it's not. There's never any judgment associated with it. It's a matter of fact, if somebody comes to me with a solution that happens to not be the right solution, I'm going to be like, I'm glad you thought about that. And that might trigger another thought down the line of, well, you brought this idea, but maybe we can do it this way. And it may be something that nobody else has ever thought of before. So it's part of the culture. We really value input in our culture, and yeah, we try not to scar interns. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Question back there.
Hi, so my question is for Manon, and I'm going to be studying electrical engineering. And so I was wondering, what can I do in my freshman year in order to be eligible for an internship after my freshman year? Thank you.
I may need a little bit of help of this. So from a university side, but making sure that one, that you are completing your academics, but the opportunities are out there, right? Setting yourself apart too, right? It is a competitive process too. So making sure that all the things that we talked about too, making sure that you're that well-roundedness, but making sure that you are completing, your coursework for that first year. But also remember that our internships are, we're looking at our internships even now and earlier for those that are already freshmen right now. So I'm not looking to say like, oh, you've gotten an A in this class, but making sure that you're putting your best foot forward, I will say. I don't know if there's any on the UCF side, if you have anything that.
Absolutely, man. And thanks. Just to add, it's probably not a good idea to go right away into it because the CWEP program is competitive. So you're going up against people that may have more information. But what she said about internship, you can start at any time. So the CWEP is not an internship program. It's a work experience program that is an interview and a competitive selection process. So give it some time, build up some background here, some courses, some things that you've done that look good, and then go for it. So we have help here. We'll guide you through it. We'll coach you through it. All right. Let's go to this one over
Can I add
here.
one more thing though?
Yeah, go for it.
I would highly recommend you find someone who also is in the CWEP or also someone who's an active intern today at Lockheed Martin. Building those relationships with your peers too will help you get their perspectives and not just the perspective on the industry side as well.
The other side.
I'm not 100% sure who talked about this earlier, but someone mentioned AI. And I just wanted to know if you're hiring someone, what do you look for if you're going to hire someone who wants to specialize in AI?
We were expecting a question on AI. Here it is. So let's go for it. Whoever wants. Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
It's a hard question to answer because it's very much focused on what the purpose of the role is. So our digital grid team is developing strong AI capability, and also doing some work with UCF on enabling that. They would be best to talk about what they're looking for. In the example on material science, some demonstrated experience in a lab, for example, would be good experience on identifying possible superalloys. Um, Being able to take to be able to define what you want from AI is important, and to be able to understand the output, especially when it comes to creating new materials or new drugs, for example. I think that's important. But to answer your question, it would have to come from the department that would look for that capability.
David?
I would just add anything related to a background in analytics, even the background in engineering, is going to be very helpful. I was talking in the other session about AI and maybe some of the use that my team uses it for. I mean, what I can do from a statistical standpoint is pretty amazing in AI. I was just shocked, actually, but I have to know what to ask it. So I have to have a background in that. So at least coming out of school, and probably by the time anyone here graduates, it'll be far more advanced, and it'll be a different answer. But I would say any kind of analytics background. I have math majors, I have engineers. So that foundational background is going to be critical.
Mark?
Yeah, just quickly add to that. I think someone said it up here, the modeling and simulation aspect of that. With my industry, aircraft, historically we would test everything with a pilot flying an aircraft to validate all the requirements, and certify that aircraft. And what we see in our roadmap internally for aircraft development is AI being at the forefront of our digital twins, our digital transformation, where we can certify to our customers that an aircraft can perform and meet its requirements, digitally speaking, with data that AI engines can ensure that has not only test data that backs it up, but on the modeling simulation that is robust enough to give confidence to our customers that we don't actually need to fly and prove that that test point can be achieved, because we know it can because of our digital twin.
Yeah, I was able to go into a little bit more detail upstairs in my presentation. But let me just say, I'm sure you're wondering what the faculty are doing to prepare our students for AI. That's an important thing. You're going to spend some time here. What will happen? So we have many initiatives. One is just something called AI for All, which is to learn AI. But we're thinking about following the footsteps of some universities such as Purdue and Ohio State. What they've done is a requirement for AI proficiency before you graduate, which means that how do you actually properly use AI? What is the right, not just ethics, but also, as they said, what to ask AI. Because if you ask the wrong questions, you get the wrong answers. And so all of that is being thought of at the level of our provost. He has a work group to look at how we're going to do AI, how we're going to teach AI, and how are we going to then allow faculty to use AI and the students to use AI. All of that is being studied. Just wanted to give you a little feel for that. We're going to go there, and then we'll come back to you. Okay. Can we give her sound? Yes. It's on. No.
In material science engineering. And I'm happy to hear that Siemens seems to be investing in material science engineering. And I was curious to know if that is a field that any of the other panelists see as a demand or are planning to invest in it. And my second question is, what is your biggest hire out of the different majors of engineering? Is it mechanical or computer science? So,
Was that a question for Siemens first and then for everybody, or I'm not sure who you...
no, I was complimenting Siemens.
Oh.
I'm happy to hear that Siemens seems to be investing in material science engineering. Are others doing so as well?
Correct.
And then, what is your largest hire
Yeah, no,
field
they got it.
hire?
Thank you. Mark, why don't we start with that?
Yeah, I was just gonna comment. You heard here about investment in labs and things like that. We're doing very much the same thing. We have a new building going up on our campus specifically for MMP lab space. With aircraft again, going back to my industry. Getting lighter, faster, stronger, right, takes a lot of material science and a lot of composites, composite engineering. And we're even moving away from bonded or from bolted joints to bonded joints with composites. So a lot of that takes a lot of research. You have to go and look at what the allowables will be for that material. So that way we know that our government customers will feel safe flying in the aircraft. And all of that takes materials engineers to do the research, the testing, the validation. We have labs with ovens and instrument machines, and we have all kinds of equipment that we go do material testing with just to certify what we're going to be doing 10 years from now. And so a lot of investment going into material science.
Let me expand that question. Good question. Let me ask each of you this question. What is the current hiring plan for you as far as what engineers?
I mean, you want to go first? Sure. I think I mentioned earlier, we hire multidisciplinary engineers. It's not just because we're an aircraft company doesn't mean we hire just aerospace engineers. We hire computer engineers, computer science majors, electrical, mechanical. In the last session, I heard someone ask a question about industrial engineering. We hire industrial engineers as well. It's all across the board. It takes a lot. I mentioned it, I think before. It takes a lot of different aspects and backgrounds to put together some of the complex machines that we develop, and it takes different engineering disciplines to do that. From material science, a lot of our, going back to your question, material science, that's a lot of where our subject matter expertise and NG fellows become established because of the research that gets involved in those disciplines. So really we hire all across the board for that. And just one last thing I'll say about the aircraft analogy. It's not just about putting an airplane together physically. It's all the functional requirements that go into that. So there's the flight sciences aspects, aerodynamics, guidance, navigation, and control, unmanned systems becoming a lot of the future for aircraft. So it's not just the traditional mechanical or electrical. It's the whole entire picture from what the university is offering.
Manon?
I was going to say the same thing. It's all, right? If you take Lockheed Martin, if I take the F-35, for example, right? There's not just one type of engineer that had to design, develop, sustain, make sure that it's security, right? Reliable, maintainable, the business aspect of it. So it is all of engineering.
Steve, let me hang on. Sorry, Steve. Being lonely now.
I am lonely. I could say very simple. I mean, civil engineering is pretty much what we hire. But one of the things about civil engineering is it is so many things. It's site development, it's stormwater design, it's structures design, it's all different specialties which people have within that you learn and you grab and grasp as part of your college career. Technology is a huge part of our industry right now, and a lot of research and everything that comes out of the university is associated with that. It's a big part of our business. Again,
before we go forward, I'm going to ask the dean's permission to go overtime. I've 5 minutes. I've been given grace for 5 minutes. Robbie,
I'll yield the time for other questions.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We see a bunch of hands. I'm going to do a lightning round, which means quick question and quick answers. Miss Gordon, politician.
I had a question on a more personal level of once you finally get a student for the internship. I was wondering what kind of changes you see in them as a student and what skills they gain to potentially work for you once they enter the workforce.
Jump right in. One verse.
well, it was mentioned a couple times, communication skills and collaboration. They get real experience working on real projects. Some are end-to-end projects, multiple projects, but they get to really experience greater efforts working with people. And I feel like that's one of the biggest benefits of it that I see. They have the skill set coming from the university.
Yeah, learning in real life before Scholastic, you grasp on it much more.
That's good. You had long time. Very good.
Thank you. Mr. David Grimm, since you work at Universal, I have always wanted to build roller coasters that are both safe, efficient, aerodynamic, and also fun because I like cool things, not here's a box, let's ride it. So I was wondering how or what can I do to get into the internship programs and get like Universal sight on me?
Well, I think obviously there's programs around theme park design, things like that. Anything that you can do from a background perspective. But one of the things when we talked about internships before, this is more of a tip than what you can do is like have your finger on the pulse of those job postings coming out. Oftentimes, like with Universal Creative, who would hire most people that would be involved in any kind of attraction design, there are times where they've posted 100 positions all at the same time. I'm not even aware of it. People like 3 weeks later, people are asking me, and then I find out, oh, they just posted all these positions. And I know through the university you can get those that support as well. But understand wherever you want to work, when are they posting internship jobs?
All right, quick question, and then we'll go over there.
So this question's for Ms. Manan Patel. I was wondering, you mentioned that communication is a very important part for students. How do you think we as students can develop those communication skills besides the academical formation?
Yeah, so it's you're participating in the research, participating in the projects, as part of your teamwork. I imagine, right? You're going to be doing senior design projects, the presentation skills, right? Being able to talk about what you're doing, right? So a lot of the through the coursework, I would say that you have that opportunity, but then looking for the opportunities for the different programs that even some of the other businesses have too, to be able to build that bench, right? And talk and have those mentorships too, right? Once you build a relationship, whether you're working with someone in an internship, right, and you build a relationship with your coworker or with that leader too, keep in touch with them, right? Mentoring is still a part of my career, right? To make sure several years later. But I encourage you that as well.
My question's for anyone in the panel, really, but I was wondering if you had two identical applications, one from UF and one from UCF, who would you choose and why?
That's an easy one for me, but it's probably right there. Yeah.
That way, our first look at your internship. Have you interned? I don't care about GPAs. Have you had 4 years internship in school? You're way ahead of anybody else.
Okay, hi. So just quick show of hands. Who hires an environmental engineer? All right, great. So you two guys. So what does that look like in your industries?
Can you get it?
Go for it. Yeah. I mean, for us, obviously, it's vital when we design roads, when we design bridges. It's environmental is a very, very important part of what we do because we need to protect the environment. We need to permit through different areas. So anyone with a specialty in stormwater in environmental engineering or wetland species and protected species, it's very important to us, and is integrated in everything that we do in order to move a project forward.
Maybe just a comment on that also. So in our power plant business, obviously complying with EPA permits is really important, right? Through the lifetime of the project, so over decades, and at any instantaneous time, depending on the states and the municipalities and the various rules. So there's a lot of calculations to be done in the business development phase, and for that, there's a whole environmental engineering team. And it's not just for emissions; it's for acoustics, it's for various things.
Yeah. Ours is all related and it's fairly new. So maybe the department and my team is about 3 years old and it's all related to Comcast making a public commitment of being carbon neutral by 2035. And so we're growing that expertise. And I employ people with all kinds of backgrounds, all disciplines of engineering, different kinds of backgrounds, primarily with a lot of experience in environmental. So.
And I'll just give you a quick comment on our side. You heard about the T-shape. So the breadth, we actually give an education in all aspects of the environment. So they talked about water, wastewater, stormwater management, air and noise pollution, and all aspects of waste management. All of that is taught at ICF. It's a very strong environmental program. So I'm afraid of. All right, one more. Come on, Dean. Just go ahead, scream it out. I'll repeat it.
I got to earlier mention simulation of it is a gaming but that I have simulation with both of my arrow. I also have the virtual reality, and I just spotted to know as someone looking to pursue computer engineering, either through internships or end up working for Box Park.
For the recording, the questions about somebody who's interested in simulation and has some interest and expertise in it, how will they fit in?
Absolutely. So very closely. And so if I speak specifically for my say of training logistics and simulation, right? We're preparing or we're developing simulations to be able to for the warfighter, right? So before they get into the actual product that they may, whether they're flying a jet or land based, right? We want to be able to provide them that closest to most real environment, right? To be able to do it. Is out there too. We have a product where we're partnering with Unreal. And so that is part of our, the research that I talked to you about as well, a product that we just released as well. So very closely.
All right, I got the hook. I might not have a job anymore either, but that's okay. It's worth it. Please give these panel a round of applause.